Good morning from the climb up, Bald Pate. A lot happened in the last 12 hours that I didn't even get the chance to update the end of yesterday's video. Okay, I'm gonna take a break. Okay, so yesterday, got to the shelter maybe around 6 and had contemplated pushing on, and ran into 2 camp counselors running a girls' camp, a 6-week girls' camp on the Appalachian Trail for 15-year-olds, 10 girls, no technology, no showering, it's so badass, really something that I wish I would have had in high school or when I was younger. I really feel like those kinds of programs really make a difference, and I was blown away by these girls, all having so much fun. Anyway, so I got to the shelter and talked to these 2 camp counselors, main character moment, MCM, and Alchemist. And I mentioned to them that I was considering pushing on to Rangeley instead of getting off at this next road to go into Andover, which is super, super far from the trail. And that I was running low on food, and they were like, oh my god, we're getting a resupply tomorrow, we'll hook you up. And they gave me an entire resupply, all these bars. They asked all the girls for any extra tuna packets that they had, soap hooked me up with a dinner, really just, I don't know, universal alignment moment for me, where I was I think I should push on, that's what's feeling right to me. And the universe was benevolence, here you go. And some really, really wonderful, generous people just putting me in a position to chase what felt right in that moment. So today I am parting ways with Rifle and Kit Kat. They're heading into town, and I'm going to push on and get some solo time. That's feeling really right to me right now. I'm feeling pretty over socialized and could use some time alone on the trail to reflect and think about what comes next and, what just happened and all of the lessons I've learned and what I want to carry forward. So feeling just especially grateful this morning, energized, happy to be out here. The rain is holding off, so I don't know, this is going to be a moment I remember on trail. Anyway, so right now I'm climbing up to Bald Pate. The plan is to do between 14 and 18 miles today, and I'm going to try to push to catch up with Gadget and Pumbaa at some point, wherever they are, maybe in Rangeley, but if I go alone for a while until I get up to the Kennebec, which is notably where you cross the Kennebec and then all of the potentially hazardous river crossings start happening and you need people to hike with during those sections. If I'm alone until then, whatever. If not, and I find my friends, great. Oh, also, I'll show you this in a minute. Pumbaa and Gadget left me a little bag of gummy worms and a really, really sweet note at the Bald Pate shelter. So I'm just missing my friends and grateful for having hiked with Rifle and Kit Kat, and I'm sure I'll catch them in a few days too, but I'm going alone for right now. Big toad. Flug. Oh, that's a big flug. You're huge. Wow. Some chicken of the woods, just past its prime. Still a pretty color though. So Pumbaa and Gadget are actually heading to the campsite that I was planning on heading to today, which is 18-mile day today. There's also a shelter at 14, so I'm undecided whether I will do Mount Moody, I think it's called, today, which is a 2-mile straight down and straight up, 4 miles total to get to the campsite, or this will probably just be dependent on how I'm feeling, stopping at the Hall Pate's shelter, I think it's called, which would only be a 14-mile day. Then I would get some more solo time. So, I don't know. Undecided. We'll report back. Whew. View from Wyman Mountain. Hello. It is 2:37 and I have done 14 miles today, which is the most miles I've done like consecutively that fast in a minute. It really like reminded me how slow all of the miles have been these last few days. It's been crazy. I keep telling people that like my motivation to do a bunch of miles was gone, but like that wasn't the case. It was just the trail was exhausting really hard. And I've been gassed for days. But today I feel good, and I've done 14 already. I'm at the Hall Mountain Lean 2, preparing to make the 4-mile push to the Black Brook campsite, which will be brutal. It'll be a brutal 4 miles. I'm going to be heading straight down like 1,500 feet, and then, oh, a chipmunk. Oh, you heard me talking. You think I got food, buddy? Well, I don't. Oh, and then I'm going to go back up like 1,000 feet. Immediately. So, excited for that. I'm also going to be catching up with Pumbaa and Gadget today. Soap and Rifle and Kit Kat all went to the cabin, which is a hostel. But because I got that amazing trail magic, I'm pushing forward. And again, it's only 2:30 right now, and it would be stupid if I stopped. So I'm just gonna knock out Mount Moody and go meet up with my friends. Oh, a couple of other things. My Catadine has a hole in it, and it doesn't flow anymore, so got to figure out the filter situation. I think there's an outdoor store in Rangeley, so I'm going to take care of that there. But it's really funny how the closer you get to the end of your trip, the more stuff breaks. Like, my tent is broken with the metal tubey thing that's on the poles, and then my Catadine doesn't work anymore. I feel like that's everything, but I'm not gonna knock on wood because I feel like I just jinxed myself. I'm gonna break more stuff. Oh, I want to talk about the whites. I wanted to do like a wrap up of the whites since I did it, and I just haven't got around to doing it, and I'm procrastinating on climbing down Mount Moody, so I'm gonna do it now. I loved the whites. I was a huge fan of the whites, which I know is not a hot take, but I feel like I want to talk about like why I liked them, and then why I didn't like them, and then maybe like what the hardest parts were. So one of the reasons I really, really liked the whites is that it was really, really challenging, and it feels like a natural lead up throughout the entirety of the trail, because the trail is like, it is hard. But it's harder in certain sections. The whites is like hard the entire time, essentially. And it's not just like tiring hiking, but it's incredibly technical, which is really interesting and fresh. And then the views are worth it if you're lucky enough to get good weather, which I was over the Presidential Traverse and over Franconia Ridge, and Moosilauke as well. So incredibly, incredibly lucky. God, this chipmunk is egregious. What are you doing there, buddy? So yeah, was a huge fan of that. Things I didn't like about the whites, the temperamentalness of the weather is really, really difficult to account for. I got lucky the majority of the time I went through there, and we did not get majorly put out by thunderstorms, but it is dangerous up there if you get caught, and you could potentially be down and out waiting for several days if it's multiple days of thunderstorms, which can get expensive and time consuming. And if you decide to send it anyway, it's life-threatening. My friend Switch, he went over the Presidential Traverse. I think he was going up to Mount Washington, and almost got struck by lightning. Whoa, ooh, the chipmunks are fighting. Okay. Buzz off. What do you want? The most challenging parts of the Whites, for me, the Kinsmans were crazy. That's exactly what I pictured when I pictured the Whites. Just like crazy rock climb, super technical, really, 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 really fun, but like scary in dead weather. What else? Oh, the coming around Mount Jefferson over the Traverse was really rocky and painful. Was not a fan of that, especially after I think that was an 18-mile day for us. So that was exhausting and not appreciated. I think I gave it 0 out of 10 on Yelp. And then what else? Oh, loved the Wildcats. I think that the Wildcats were fear-mongered a bit. Which is stupid because they're super, super fun. What actually sucks is the Carters. The Carters blow because there's multiple of them. And then the descent down from Carter into Imp Campsite is awful. Really fun, like steep, but like potential for disaster is high. And if it's wet, which it was, I believe when we went down, was really, really scary. And again, potential to like break every bone in your body if something goes wrong. But yeah, that's the Whites. I was a huge fan of the Whites. That's definitely going to be a highlight of the trip for me. I'm still obviously pushing through Maine, but I was expecting the Whites to take the place of Roan Highlands as my favorite section of trail, and I don't think it did. I love the Roan Highlands, but you never know. Maine could surprise me. Going down there. I'm not really quite sure why we are being forced to climb all the way up the mountain, then down the mountain, then back up the mountain, then back down the mountain. Yo. Yep. That's a mountain. Mount Moody. More like Mount Rudy. It's rude to make me climb this mountain right now. I'm so sweaty. It never ends. Good evening. It is 7:54 p.m. and we are camping at some road that I'm going to put here. Today I did just over 18 miles up and over Moody Mountain, and it felt really, really good to start pushing big miles again. That felt really amazing. I really underplayed how hard the last like over 100 miles was, like really difficult, really slow going miles. So it felt really, really good today to actually push and fun to do that. I'm feeling pretty sore, unfortunately. Both my feet are feeling it for sure. My left knee is like pretty beat up from when I fell in the bog the other day, and then I pulled something in my like left inner thigh, which doesn't feel great. But I'm hoping that they're all minor and that a good night's sleep will heal them up, and some ibuprofen, which I will take here in a second. I reunited with Gadget and Pumbaa. They're in their tents. They're in there. It was really, really good to see them. And the plan, I believe, is to push, be out here a couple more nights, and then make it to Rangeley. That will put me out here for, I think, 6 or 7 nights in a row, which may be the longest I've been out on trail. I honestly can't remember. It's been a long 6 months. But yeah, happy to be back with friends. Not that I've really left friends. And excited to keep pushing through Maine. Good night.